faithfully delivering value and interpreting great books from around the world. Hi, this is Sally with the Book Talk. Today we're interpreting the book Lean In. Have you ever noticed that in, corporate leadership or executive levels, the gender ratio is often unbalanced? According to statistics, among Fortune 500 companies, only 40% of CEOs are women. In other senior management roles and board memberships, women make up less than 20%. Opportunities for promotion aren't equal between men and women either. Expectant mothers and women of childbearing age are often excluded from promotions, both openly and subtly. Right. Even if they manage to keep a foothold in the workplace, they're frequently asked questions like, how do you balance family and work? So, are workplace treatments the same for men and women? The answer is no. A global salary report surveyed 38 countries and found men's average pay is almost always higher than women's. The biggest gap is in the US at 35.8%, and in China, it's 22.9%. It's based on the various challenges women face at work that Sheryl Sandberg wrote this book. She served as chief of staff to the Treasury Secretary under Clinton, VP of Google's online sales and operations, and is now COO of Facebook. This male dominated company saw huge profit growth thanks to her efforts. Sandberg secured her role as second in command and is called the most powerful woman in Silicon Valley. During this time, she had 2 kids and built a happy family. As a successful woman balancing career and home, Sandberg found that when all else is equal, women's careers often trail men's. Many women hesitate to chase their dreams, always sacrificing themselves to care for family. Digging into the reasons, it's really women making unconscious compromises under social pressure and values. So she wrote this book urging more women to bravely lean in and live for their true desires. Next, I'll cover this book through 3 questions. First question, what does leaning in mean? Why should women lean in? Second question, how can women lean in at work? The third question, after women lean in, how do they balance family and work? All right, let's look at the first topic. Why should women lean in? Sandberg. When she was in college, she thought there was no difference between herself and her male classmates. Both would balance career aspirations and family ideals in the future. However, over 20 years after graduating, she found that many male classmates excelled in their careers, while most female classmates didn't stand out, and some even left the workforce to become full-time moms. Hmm. Hmm. Why is there such a big gap in careers among people who were once equally outstanding? After observing friends around her, Sandberg discovered that at the same life stage, women have to put effort into their jobs while also bearing the responsibility of childbearing. Husbands can't bear children, and they usually don't share household chores, so women end up doing 2 full-time jobs simultaneously. So, what causes this division of labor between men and women? From childhood, it's education. Little girls are taught to be gentle, virtuous, sensible, and well behaved. And in the family, they look to their mothers as role models for housework and childcare. Boys are expected to be manly, responsible, look to their fathers as role models, and earn a living to support the family. These countless details instilled in childhood gradually form a fixed pattern, reinforced during growth, and become self-fulfilling prophecies. As they grow up, social norms stimulate this division of labor. People expect men to have ambition in their careers, but if women act the same way, they're seen as ambitious and face public criticism and social punishment. In terms of time and energy, women can't fully invest in both family and career at the same time. They have to make a choice. Um, and this forced choice between work and family is essentially forcing women to give up their careers. Besides education and social norms, What hinders women's career development is their self-doubt and inner fears. This fear pulls countless women from being protagonists to bystanders in their own lives. Sandberg deeply realized this at a meeting. Several women sat silently at the edge of the table during a meeting discussion, and at meals, they chose seats farther away. Sandberg waved to them, inviting them to come to the table, but got no response. I After the meeting, Sandberg frankly told them they should sit at the table like everyone else, especially when welcomed, and actively participate. They were surprised at first, but then agreed. This is the inner fear of many working women. No matter how outstanding, they always feel unworthy of recognition, undeserving of praise, and guilty. It's like they've done something wrong. Sandberg herself has had this experience. In 2011, she ranked fifth on the world's most influential women list. Um, Her first reaction was terrified. When colleagues praised her profusely, she felt very embarrassed and didn't know how to handle it. Well, at that point, her female assistant, Camille, ran over and sincerely said, "You don't need to be so uneasy. Just say thank you." Sandberg suddenly understood Camille was right. She gained attention through her diligent work and helping others, which is legitimate and honorable. So she realized that, on one hand, working women bear the dual responsibilities and pressures from work and family. On the other hand, their self-criticism and lack of confidence make them hesitate and miss opportunities when facing career chances. Therefore, working women must overcome their inner fears, lean in at work instead of sitting on the sidelines, and learn to balance family and career. So, next, I'll answer how to achieve these 2 points in the second and third questions, respectively. All right, let's look at the second question first. How can women lean in at work? Sandberg believes that for women to escape the sidelines at work and achieve better development, they need to start from 4 aspects. First, clarify career goals. Second, seek advice widely, including from leaders, the industry, seniors, and colleagues. Third, don't suppress your ideas, express them bravely. Fourth, for unfriendly social opinions, gently persist. All right, first, let's look at clarifying career goals, including long-term dreams and short-term objectives. Sandberg compares a career to a jungle gym, not a ladder, because she feels careers are often not straight up and down, but have various ways of climbing, twisting and turning, sometimes up, sometimes down, especially for women's career paths affected by family and social factors. The long-term dream doesn't need to be specific. It's a general direction in life that guides you forward, like a distant signpost. Even if vague, Sandberg's childhood dream was to change the world. So after college, her first job was as a research assistant to the chief economist at the World Bank, working to reduce global poverty. Um, Later, she went to business school to learn how to solve social problems through marketing. After graduation, she worked as a consultant at McKinsey before returning to the Treasury Department. There, she discovered technology was transforming how people communicate and live. Then, Google, still relatively unknown, offered her a job. She hesitated, so the CEO advised focusing on growth potential. Joining Google turned out to be a brilliant move in Sandberg's career. And that advice about focusing on growth potential became her go-to recommendation for everyone. She believes growth potential applies beyond tech. It's relevant in any field where you can develop. For example, within companies, departments, or teams that are expanding. Of course, potential also means unknowns and risks. That's why many didn't understand Sandberg joining Google. Why take a lower level job working for 23-year-old Zuckerberg? In reality, greater risks bring greater potential rewards, while stability often costs growth opportunities. Now, let's look at short-term goals. Typically, short-term goals cover 18 months, about 1 to 2 years, focusing on what your team can do for the company. This shift from self to organizational benefit leads to wiser choices. Additionally, short term goals include skill development targets. For instance, when Sandberg first joined Google and lacked negotiation skills, she asked colleagues for tips and studied communication techniques. Beyond setting career goals, it's crucial to seek advice widely. This includes leaders, industry experts, mentors, and colleagues. Many struggle with how to connect with superiors. Sandberg says it's simple. Excel at your work. Outstanding performance naturally captures leaders' attention. When a leader shows interest in you, ask for their advice. Then, when thanking them, request more guidance. This way, the executive unknowingly participates in your career development. Mentorship from industry veterans can greatly accelerate your career growth. Sandberg believes finding a mentor in your field is an excellent choice. She shared an example of herself as a mentor. Clara Shi, the Chinese American entrepreneur who joined Starbucks's board at 29, was brought into the industry by Sandberg. Sandberg met this mentor at a conference. Clara Shi. At that time, Clara shared impressive insights about social media. Later, she wrote a book and founded Hearsay Social, maintaining contact with Sandberg throughout. And so when Sandberg left Starbucks board, she naturally thought of Clara as her replacement. Sandberg believes finding mentors requires more than social skills. You must be outstanding. Valuable people attract help. Excellence makes others want to support you. Besides leaders and veterans, colleagues' advice is also vital. So how can you get more timely advice? Try 3 techniques. First, openly discuss your flaws to show approachability. Sandberg often loses patience when problems linger and pressures intensely, but she openly admits this flaw and asks colleagues to gently remind her. Second, use humor skillfully. Its magic is conveying truth through friendliness. Like when Levin had urgent work, but a colleague delayed submitting. Levin told him, "You need to finish that draft, seriously, or I'll meet God from panic and heart failure." The colleague, looking ashamed, rushed to complete it. Third, share emotions to build deeper relationships. When Sandberg first joined Facebook and heard gossip, she cried uncontrollably when telling Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg gave her a comforting hug. Sandberg recalled that this was a breakthrough moment, bringing them closer afterwards. While listening to others' advice, working women should also build inner confidence and dare to express their ideas. The book tells a story. Jessica dreamed of becoming a journalist since age 11. As an adult, she worked hard for her dream and luckily became an editor, but her income couldn't support her, forcing her to work part-time as a bartender. However, her male colleagues at the same level earned much more. So she wanted to ask for a raise but feared rejection. After hesitating for a long time, she finally decided to try. She compiled a list of materials proving her value, like awards and publication counts, and sent it to the editor-in-chief. The editor-in-chief received the email and scheduled a meeting. Jessica went with the materials, but used to suppressing her thoughts. She couldn't say anything. Later, she emailed the editor-in-chief again, expressing her true thoughts. A few days later, Jessica got a response. Not only did she get a raise, but also a promotion. From then on, asking for raises became easier for her, because she knew that if she didn't ask proactively, there would be no chance for a raise. Suppressing one's ideas ultimately stems from inner fear and lack of confidence. Sandberg has deep experience and clear awareness of this. Whenever she feels incompetent at a task, she reminds herself, "I never failed a single exam in college." Facts prove that confidence not only helps you make right choices, but can even change a woman's fate. Tanisha's story is another great example. She grew up as a Black woman in a place full of violence and poverty. Most of her friends got pregnant as teens, went to jail, and died. If not for her mother's strong support, Tanisha would have almost lived such a life too. To give her a good learning environment where there were no good schools locally, Her mother co-founded a school, and the mother's belief gradually became Tanisha's pursuit. Later, she enrolled in Pacific University and became a co-founder of a nonprofit organization. Tanisha changed her fate through hard work, fundamentally because she found confidence in her family's trust and strived to live life on her own terms. But confidence alone isn't enough to counter the pressure from unfriendly social opinions. What to do? Sandberg's answer is gentle persistence. There's an implicit social bias. If a woman is highly capable, she's seen as unlikable. If she appears likable, she's deemed incapable. Yet people prefer to hire and promote those who are both capable and likable. See, public opinion doesn't decide anything. While improving your skills with graceful communication, you determine your own place. Sandberg has a simple, effective suggestion: gentle persistence. For example, negotiate normally but replace I with we. Smile often, express gratitude, and highlight mutual interests. This not only fosters harmonious colleague relationships, but also boosts persuasiveness in negotiations. It sounds like you're advocating for collective benefit, not personal gain. Women must conquer inner fears, break old mindsets, stop fearing being disliked, judged, or failing as mothers, wives, or daughters. Persist with feminine grace, and fears fade, freeing you to pursue career success and personal fulfillment. All right, we've covered how women can lean in at work. So after that, how should women balance family and career? That brings us to today's third question. A child's birth is the watershed moment when working women consider returning home. Sandberg's discussion in the book largely starts from pregnancy preparation. At this juncture, fathers unquestionably keep working, while mothers face whether to quit for childcare. This choice is often swayed by spouses' opinions. Data shows 60% of well-educated women who left the workforce cite their partner as the key factor. Spouses rarely handle childcare and housework. Some even expect wives to reduce work, leaving them unsupported. Working women have to juggle career and family, essentially doing two full-time jobs. Human energy is limited. It's hard to manage both perfectly, so many end up sacrificing their careers. Some families face economic dilemmas too, like when the father earns more while the mother's income can't cover childcare costs. So in this situation, should the mother choose to leave her job? Sandberg believes not, and here's why. First, you can't measure a mother's career value by current earnings alone. View her income as a family investment. Over time, her salary and position will rise. Higher roles bring flexible schedules and greater efficiency. Second, women quitting work to become full-time moms isn't necessarily better for children. Studies show when both parents pursue careers, children, parents, and marriages all thrive. In other words, women's career growth shares financial burdens, reduces maternal guilt, boosts mental health, benefiting both individual and family. Third, increasing fathers' involvement in child-rearing is essential. The 2010 study found children with engaged fathers have better mental health, stronger cognitive and social skills, and fewer bad habits. So as a working woman becoming a mother, don't rush decisions, talk deeply with your husband. You must share responsibilities as true partners. Drawing from experience, Sandberg offers 3 tips. First, equally split housework and childcare with your spouse. At a conference, Sandberg once asked, "What can men do to help women advance in leadership?" Harvard professor Rosabeth Cantor replied, "Do the laundry." She wasn't saying husbands should solely handle laundry. She meant men must free women from chores through shared responsibility, enabling professional growth. As partners, women should empower men at home to ensure absolute equality. Don't command or blame, and don't unintentionally discourage men from sharing housework by being too controlling or picky. Even if he doesn't do it well, it's okay. Keep smiling, let him try more, and gradually find the right way. The wife should also realize Husbands pay career costs in this process because society has higher professional expectations for men. When male employees leave early or take leave to care for sick children, they get mocked, receive lower job evaluations, and have fewer promotions. So women should timely encourage men to lean in on household duties through praise, making them share chores more actively. Um, Sandberg shares Halloran's story, an outstanding career woman who, after twins, reduced work hours by two-thirds, handling childcare and housework alone. When Twitter offered Halloran a job, she hesitated. Sandberg advised communicating equally with her husband to discuss dividing family responsibilities. Afterward, Halloran discovered her husband loved spending time with the kids, and she accepted Twitter's offer. Having a beloved job and more equal marriage made both happier. Sandberg's second tip targets women themselves. She reminds women that even with pregnancy plans, they need an exit early. What does that mean? Step back only when truly needing rest or when birth nears. Don't do it prematurely. Before that, keep leaning in proactively. Only then can you return to work post-childbirth with renewed motivation. Pretty Choksi, Sandberg's Facebook colleague, excelled at work, so Sandberg proposed a promotion. But Choksi hesitated. After talking, Sandberg learned Choksi planned pregnancy next year, fearing she couldn't juggle work, even considering quitting, hence her lukewarm response. Sandberg was surprised by this. She told Choksi that a career is a marathon in life. During pregnancy and childbirth, women might slow down, but that's never the marathon's finish line. Ultimately, Choksi accepted the challenging promotion before having her child. After giving birth, she took 4 months off before returning to her position. Sandberg's third tip targets mothers returning to work after childcare. Working moms need to overcome perfectionism and guilt over missing moments, allowing life to progress amid some chaos. Many women balancing career and family exhibit perfectionist traits, wanting everything done perfectly, with orderly work and home lives. But psychologist Stewart's research on Yale alumni found such women face higher severe anxiety risks. When they fall short of expectations, they may withdraw completely in discouragement. Another force pulling women home is the desire to witness every childhood moment. Missing first words or first steps inevitably brings sadness and guilt. This is a biological instinct of motherhood. Sandberg experienced this too when returning after 3 months maternity leave. Missing her child intensely, she cried behind her closed office door. When her child reached for the nanny instead of her for toys, she felt heartbroken. But her husband reassured her. This showed their child was thriving and adapted to their absence. So, working women should embrace imperfection, channel longing into productivity, focus on essential tasks, and maximize limited time and energy. As Sandberg said in a speech, we don't need perfection. We need sustainable career growth while doing what matters for ourselves and families. Well, and what we need most is to bravely lean in. All right, that concludes our interpretation of lean in. Key takeaways are below the audio. See you tomorrow, and congratulations. Another great book finished.